This is CBS 6 This Morning Weekend.
What a great start to our first full weekend of spring. We've got home openers for the Kickers. We're less than 2 weeks away from the Flying Squirrels opener, and we've got warmer temperatures coming our way today. Good morning. It is Saturday, March 22nd. I'm Greg McQuaid's understudy, Cameron Thompson, in for my debut performance.
If you weren't watching the TV, you could just tell by the lovely velvet tones Cameron was here today.
The true star of the show, as always. You're the big ticket item. The 9 monitor. That's what I'm talking about. Everyone likes that big, clear picture.
Yeah, that big piece of machinery behind me, that's the star of the show. Well, welcome, Cam. Going to have a lovely 2 hours ahead. And yesterday, we saw a little bit of a cool down. Today, it's going to warm back up, and we're going to have a pretty nice weekend. This is the first full weekend of spring coming up. And we're waking up now to clear to partly cloudy skies across the region. Sunrise this morning is at 7:09, so just a little more than an hour away from right now. And the current temperatures are in the 30s to low 40s. Some of our colder spots out by the Lynchburg and Danville are close to freezing. There's a little bit of a light breeze outside. That's enough to create a little bit of a wind chill. Feels a few degrees lower than the actual air temperature. It's going to be quite breezy today, but it's going to be pushing in warm air. We have just a few clouds across the region now. Those are tracking to the northeast. A few clouds will come in during the course of the day today, but will generally be partly to mostly sunny much of the day. But the winds will start picking up out of the southwest. We'll have some gusts over 30 miles an hour, and temperatures will crack 60 by noon. And we should get into the upper 60s and low 70s across central Virginia this afternoon. We are watching some cooler air coming in from the north and west. That's going to come in for tomorrow, and temperatures are going to go back up and down quite a bit for the next week. We'll talk about that in our next prospect for rain. That's all in the 7-day forecast in just a little while. Cameron.
Thank you, Michael. We start with a developing story from the sports world, as it was announced late last night that former heavyweight champion boxer George Foreman has died at the age of 76. Foreman is one of the most legendary practitioners of the sweet science, with his bouts with Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali being among the most famous fights of all time. He won the gold medal for heavyweight boxing in 1968 Olympics in Mexico, and then won the heavyweight championship twice in his career. The second time around came in 1994 at the age of 46, and after 10 years away from the ring, making him the oldest man to ever be champ. Outside of the ring, of course, he is known for the iconic George Foreman grill, which was introduced in 1994 and reportedly sold 100 million units in its first 25 years of existence. No immediate cause of death was given by his family. Again, George Foreman passing away at the age of 76. We also have breaking news locally. One man is dead and a woman has been seriously injured after a crash at the intersection of Airport and Audubon Drives in Henrico. This footage is captured by our photojournalist Miles Black. We don't have much information right now on the crash itself, but police do say that it will have a significant impact on morning airport traffic. The airport drive between I-64 and Route 60 will be closed until the investigation is complete. You should use Laburnum Avenue to Route 60 as a detour. On Friday, a large presence of first responders gathered in Richmond to accompany the body of a 20-year-old EMT who was killed in a crash involving a dump truck on Route 360 Thursday in King and Queen County. The procession started at the medical examiner's office in the city to honor the life of Jacob Bozeman. First responders from the Richmond Fire Department, AMR, VCU Health, and a medical helicopter led the procession all the way to the Faulkner Funeral Home in Tappahannock, where friends and family were gathered to receive Bozeman's body. According to Virginia State Police, Bozeman lost his life after the ambulance he was driving crashed into the driver's side rear of a dump truck stopped in a median on Route 360. The other EMT and the driver of the dump truck were injured in the crash and taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. In a statement, AMR said the incident was heartbreaking and a reminder of the risks that EMTs take in the name of caring for others. A longtime local nonprofit that helps victims of domestic violence, child abuse, and sexual assault is on the verge of losing more staff. This comes after various budget cuts over the last few years, and with more expected, Wayne Koval explains why the impact this could have on helping victims and how the community can help.
We were afraid to go home.
I'm not showing this woman's face.
I had a lot of fear.
To protect her identity.
It was really stressful for me, and it became very stressful for my kids.
She says she and her children were victims of domestic abuse.
So whatever works for you, whatever's convenient.
But once in the care of the James House,
They saved our life.
the 3-decade-old nonprofit covers the Tri-Cities and surrounding area. And in those 30-plus years, the numbers of those they've helped have added up.
Close to 30,000. But we average about 1,500 people a year right now.
Nearly 5 years ago, staff with the James House came to her aid.
I filed the police report, and the police officer called the James House, and they escorted us to shelter at that time.
That moment changed their lives.
I don't think I'd be here today.
But it was more than just a safe haven.
And I know food and shelter are needs. They're necessities, but I think the counseling was by far way more important to keep me from going back to that situation.
Recently, the James House held an emergency meeting to go over what they believe will be more budget cuts starting July 1st.
So I just wanted to set up a time to, speak with you.
Over the last 4 years, funding reductions have caused the James House to have to twice cut staffing by a total of 7 positions. They're at 11 employees currently.
We were talking before about how we're going to do fundraising to bring in some extra funding.
Now the concern is,
With the deficit that we're facing, we will probably have to lose 2 team members, and we will have to greatly reduce our shelter abilities, how many people we can take into shelter.
now years later, this victim is willing to come forward.
I need to be an advocate for them. They were an advocate for me when I couldn't be.
And she believes many people living and working in the area never realize who some of the people are the James House has helped.
And they have no idea that it's their neighbor. It's the person next to them at church. It's their coworker. And they're going through it silently.
You can't win if you don't buy a ticket, so get your ticket today.
Hearing of funding shortages, several local businesses have helped create a raffle as a way to financially help out the James House.
We are honestly just trying to lessen the financial burden that comes along with the important work and the services that they offer to our area.
If you'd like to purchase a raffle ticket or simply make a donation to the James House, you can go to our website, WTVR.com, to find information and links to both. In Colonial Heights, Wayne Koval, CBS 6 News.
And if you have a story you'd like to send Wayne, give him a call at 804-254-3623 or email him at wayne.koval@WTVR.com. And spring is finally in the air, and what better way to celebrate than with a nice brisk 10K. We're just a few weeks away from the return of the U-Crops Monument Avenue 10K on Saturday, April 12th. And whether you want to walk, run, jog, or skip, the 6.2-mile course registration remains open. Just scan the QR code on the bottom corner of your screen to learn more about the event. And if you think you'll want to register, do it soon, because it costs $5 to register right now, but that price will jump up, $55 rather, jump up on April 1st. My vision's still a little foggy this morning, but what would you do? Run, skip, hop, or jump?
How many fingers am I holding up?
There we go.
I would watch, as in, you're doing very well, keep going.
Moral support, I like it.
As I mentioned many times before in the show, my people don't run, so we'll happily spectate. Hey Cam, it's a little cool outside this morning. Let's go up to Doswell. Our after-hours concert cam shows some stars and some clouds. These clouds will move on out. It's going to warm up today and turn breezy. We'll have your full 7-day forecast coming up in just a moment.
Thank you, Mike. And as we head to break, a live look at Seattle, Washington, up in the Pacific Northwest.
And good Saturday morning. It's 11 minutes past 6 o'clock here on CBS 6. We have some clouds across the region this morning. These will start tracking off to the northeast, move out of our area. A few more clouds will come in during the course of the day, but we'll still have a decent amount of sunshine. At the airport right now, temperature's 39 degrees. Winds are out of the southeast at 5, making it feel more like 36, so just very light wind chill. The winds aren't that bad right now in some areas between about 0 and 10 miles an hour, but they're going to pick up, and we're going to have some gusts over 30 miles an hour later on today. The winds are coming, though, out of the south and southwest, and that's bringing some warmer air over the course of the day today. But right now we have some upper 30s and low 40s across central Virginia. We're in the low 30s out by Lynchburg and Danville. There's a cold front here near Indianapolis, and ahead of it, if you go past Bristol, you see temperatures there are fairly warm, upper 40s, low 50s, and there's a huge temperature jump from this point yesterday. Now remember, on Thursday it was pretty warm. Yesterday it cooled back down, and that warm air is coming back into the region for the day today. There are some clouds off towards the west, a little upper levels. Area low pressure right there, you see kind of spinning around there. That's going to move into the area today, cause a few clouds. Not a real possibility. There could be a sprinkle if you're traveling up towards D.C., but here are the clouds moving out. A few will come in during the course of the day today, so our hour-by-hour forecast, a mix of clouds and sunshine. This afternoon, high temperatures will be in the mid-60s near the coast, upper 60s and low 70s just about everywhere else, running almost about 10 degrees above normal. This evening, temperatures will be in the 50s. A little cold front comes through this evening, and that brings in some cooler air for tomorrow. So we'll start off in the 30s to around 40, and then tomorrow high temperatures only getting into the 50s to low 60s. We'll have a mostly sunny day. Some clouds will come in towards late afternoon, and tomorrow evening we may have a few light showers, especially west of I-95. Going into Monday, cold front's going to be coming through. There'll be a chance of a little bit of rain Monday, mostly the first part of the day. That moves on out, and then our next system will approach from the west, and that brings in a chance of showers Tuesday evening, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So we do have a couple of rain chances here in the 7-day forecast, but nothing of any huge consequence. We're not expecting any huge amounts of rain. 72 today, 62 tomorrow, 68 on Monday with some showers mostly in the morning, maybe a couple showers late Tuesday and early Wednesday. We're back down to about 60 midweek, but then look at this. We warm back up to 71 on Friday, and it looks like next weekend, highs between 75 and 80.
Exhibit at the Black History Museum and Cultural Center of Virginia on the Richmond 34. There is also a fundraiser happening this weekend here at the Black History Museum to produce a movie on the Richmond 34. I'm Antoinette Essa. We've got all the details coming up.
65 years ago, a band of college students helped usher in the civil rights movement in Richmond. A movie is being made right now honoring the group known as the Richmond 34, and a fundraiser to support the movie's production is underway. Antoinette Essa tells us more in this morning's A-List.
We weren't taught to be afraid of anything. It was like, you're here and you're just as good as anybody else.
Richmond 34 Virginia Union University students. They walked down to Tallheimer's department store. They got tired of segregation, discrimination, gentrification. They got tired of it, so they decided to go down and do something about it.
And on that day, February 22nd, 1960, 34 students were arrested for a nonviolent sit-in at a whites-only lunch counter, a moment sealed in civil rights history.
Oh God, it is very important, and I'll get emotional. It's so important because realistically, no one knows who these people are.
Before I know it, they said, they made the statement, if you do not leave now, you're going to be under arrest.
Now, more than 6 decades later, Reverend Dr. L.K. Harris wants the world to see their story on the big screen.
Sometimes in our lives, we have the opportunity to make a difference, to make a change.
It started with a call from Pastor Vincent Scott Bray to do a feature on a member of the 34.
His father was one of the Richmond 34, and he was actually one of the first to be arrested, and he brought it to my attention about 3 years ago. And he asked me to do a movie about his father. So as I dove into it, I found out this movie was so much larger.
It was such a wonderful thing to realize that we were strong enough to make a stand.
And then Richmond 34, A Silent Victory was born, a docudrama on the students and their supporters.
But it was over 200 people that was there. But 34 sat there and decided they were not going to move until the police came and locked them up.
In his research, Dr. Harris recalls a conversation with one of the Richmond 34 and a reaction from a bystander.
This old man tried to spit on me. And so I asked her, how did you feel about that? I hated it. I hated them. But at the time, we had to do what we had to do.
Of course, this story wouldn't be complete without the support of the Black History Museum and Culture Center of Virginia.
When we talk about Black excellence, when we talk about resilience, when we talk about courage, when we talk about perseverance, this is one of those stories that encapsulates all of that.
The museum also acted and recreated a lunch space with an exhibit in its lobby. To complete the making of Richmond 34, the Silent Victory, there's a fundraiser on March 23rd at the Black History Museum. The event will feature speakers including Chief Warrant Officer 5 Philip Brashear, the son of Master Diver Carl Brashear from the movie Men of Honor, Grammy-nominated James Saxmo Gates, a viewing of the movie trailer, and host Clovia Lawrence will kick things off at 2 p.m. Tickets are available on Eventbrite. Here at the Black History Museum, Wright says visitors are eager to support and remember this important time in history.
So making that connection to what took place and just recognizing and again making that connection to say, because of what they did, that silent victory, that was a part of what was happening so that I'm able to do what I can do today.
The Richmond 34 is a permanent exhibit at the Black History Museum and Cultural Center of Virginia. Of course, if you'd like more information, you can visit our website. That's WTVR.com. Antoinette Edessa at the Black History Museum, CBS 6 News.
Thanks, Antoinette. 621, a few scattered clouds outside right now. It's a cool morning with temperatures upper 30s and low 40s for most of us. A little warmer down in Williamsburg, a little bit colder out by Lynchburg and Danville. Light breeze outside now, producing a slight wind chill in a few areas, but the wind's going to pick up. But later today, you're really not going to mind the breeze. It's going to push temperatures into the upper 60s and low 70s. Clouds on mix today, pretty breezy. 38 tonight, 62 tomorrow. A couple showers around Monday, mostly in the morning. And then we may have a couple showers Tuesday evening, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. Cools off a little bit by midweek, high of 60. We're back up to 71 on Friday, and it looks like next Saturday or Sunday we could be up to about 80 degrees. So a little something for everyone, Cameron, if you like cooler weather or warmer weather and everything in between.
I like to hear that. We'll see you back in a few minutes.
6 Sports, sponsored by Toyota.
We begin this Saturday morning with the off-season coaching carousel. Nearly 2 years ago, Ryan Odom received a warm welcome inside the Siegel Center as he was officially introduced as VCU's head coach. Fast forward to the present, and he has joined a list that includes Rhodes, Wade, Smart, Grant, and Capel. Sources have confirmed to CBS 6 Sports that Odom has accepted the head coaching job at Virginia. UVA will make an official announcement later today, and a press conference is scheduled for Monday at John Paul Jones Arena. Odom's ties with the Cavaliers program goes back to when he was a ball boy when his dad Dave was an assistant on Terry Hollins' staff in the early 80s. And of course, when he coached UMBC as a 16 seed in the 2018 NCAA tournament, they defeated the #1 seed UVA that year. Odom compiled a 52-21 record at VCU over 2 seasons and won both the A-10 regular season and tournament titles this year en route to an NCAA tournament trip, the third different program Odom has led to the dance. Meanwhile, Norfolk State had the task of facing the top seed in the West Region, Florida, in Raleigh. Florida came out fast out of the gate. Walter Clayton Jr. gets 4 the hard way to beat the shot clock buzzer. Gators started the game on a 13-2 run. Later in the first, Gators in transition. The nice pass to Elijah Martin for 2 of his 17. It's 42-14 Gators. But Norfolk State will go on a run at the end of the half behind former Petersburg standout Chris Fields, who scored 14. Spartans trailed 21 at the half. Second half, more from the Gators and from Clayton Jr. The and 1 for 2 of his 23. Gators move on to the round of 32, 95-69, the final. Now to the women's game, and when the Richmond women's team hit the floor at Pauley Pavilion on Friday, they did so as the last Central Virginia team to be in the postseason. They were also trying to become the first Spiders team to win an NCAA tournament game. A-10 Player of the Year Maggie Maggie Dugan and Richmond met Georgia Tech in the first round of the Spokane Regional in Los Angeles. First quarter, Dugan started strong from the outside as she knocks down the three, gave the Spiders a 9-point lead. They led 19-7 after one. To the second, the threes were raining in Pauley. Anna Camden, a straight-on triple. She had 7. Spiders up by 2 touchdowns. Couple of minutes later, off a Georgia Tech turnover, Katie Hill with some fancy ball handling. She'll score to put Richmond up 31-10. And at the end of the half, they go back to Dugan, and she does what Maggie Dugan does. Beats the first half buzzer. She had a game-high 30, along with 15 rebounds and 6 assists. Richmond cruises 74-49 to win their first NCAA postseason contest in program history.
3 points. But I think we've talked a lot with this group that there's going to be a legacy component to this team, and we wanted that really bad. And they're going to celebrate this today. But that group in that locker room is going to remember this day for the rest of their life. And every time they come back for a school reunion, they're going to talk about this. Everybody that was in the stands today is going to talk about this today. And we wanted to have that for the rest of our lives.
Richmond will play UCLA Sunday in Pauley Pavilion. That's the latest from the Toyota Sports Desk.
This is CBS 6 This Morning Weekend.
Findings from the third-party investigation into the 2022 UVA mass shooting have been released. What the heavily redacted report says about the school's threat assessment team. Officials say 2 brush fires were triggered by a bird. What firefighters say happened in Chesterfield County. And it's going to feel great outside today, but we may see some showers on the horizon. Michael Papa was a Rolling Stone. We'll have the full forecast for us. And welcome back to this Saturday, March 22nd. Cameron Thompson in for Greg McQuaid. Michael Stone, how are you doing?
Nice to see you. I appreciate you getting up early with us.
I enjoy it. I was going to say, with a new puppy in the household, getting up early is what's happening a lot for those potty breaks.
You're going to, as we go throughout the show, we're going to need some stories about it. Do you have any pictures we can share at some point?
Plenty, of course. So
okay.
Little Lily Pulitzer.
Okay, so either send them to me or to Jack, and we'll get those on the air.
I think we have a few dog segments coming up, per usual, for the weekend.
Yeah, because a lot of times we're just kind of like, there's not much going on. Let's just look at puppies for 20 minutes, and the ratings actually skyrocket.
We'll bring in Goldie as well. Yeah.
Perhaps Goldie can help us adopt some of them as well. I want to show you what's going on outside right now. We are getting a little bit closer to sunrise this morning. That's a few minutes after 7 o'clock. We have a few scattered clouds across the region now. These are going to move on out, so we'll see a good deal of sunshine today. A few more clouds will come in from the west during the course of the day, so we'll have a cloud-sun mix. Temperatures outside this morning are chilly. We have some upper 30s and low 40s for most of the area, although it's 48 in Williamsburg, but 33 over in Lynchburg and Danville. There's a very light breeze outside, so in some areas it feels a little bit colder. The wind chill in Richmond right now is 36, but the winds are going to pick up. We'll have some gusts over 30 miles an hour today, but it'll be pushing in warmer air. A few clouds right now, those are moving out. A few clouds to the west, those will come in during the day. There could be a sprinkle if you're heading up to D.C., but by and large, we're going to have a partly and a mostly sunny day today. But look off towards the west, there's a huge temperature jump, so even though we cooled down yesterday, that warmer air is coming in this afternoon, so that means high temperatures back up into the upper 60s and low 70s today. It will be a little bit cooler, though, near the coast, and again, we'll have those gusts over 30 miles an hour, and we should be well above 60 even by noon for much of the area. But a cold front's coming through this evening. Tomorrow cools back down. We'll talk about when it's going to warm back up again in our 7-day forecast straight ahead. Cam.
Thank you, Mike. We're continuing to follow a deadly crash out of Henrico that has shut down parts of Airport Drive. It happened around 2:15 this morning at the intersection of Airport and Audubon Drives. If you're heading to the airport this morning, this will have a major impact. Airport Drive between I-64 and Route 60 will be closed until the investigation is complete. You should be using Laburnum Avenue to Route 60 as a detour. And 2 third-party investigations into the 2022 shooting at the University of Virginia that killed 3 football players have been released. The heavily redacted reports found weaknesses in the school's threat assessment team. One attorney for the family say they're frustrated by the lack of information in the report. Our Melissa Hipplett shares what the report shows and explains why information was redacted.
In November 2022, Christopher Darnell Jones Jr., a University of Virginia student, shot and killed 3 UVA football players, Devin Chandler, Lavelle Davis Jr., and Deshaun Perry. 2 other students were seriously injured after returning from a field trip to see a play in Washington, D.C. Since that tragic day, we have been awaiting the release of 2 reports the school asked Attorney General Jason Miyares to commission, one of which looks at the efforts UVA took before the shooting to assess the potential threat posed by Jones. More than 2 years after the shooting, UVA released that report. And yet, it's so heavily redacted that we can't tell what was learned about Jones, his interactions with the university, and the school's response prior to the shooting. University officials said the redactions are necessary under the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act because they haven't received consent to share information from any student's educational records. As we have previously reported, Jones was a 5th-year senior at UVA who was known to the school's Threat Assessment Team, or TAT. TATs are a formal mechanism in the university for the school to hear about a case and make a determination about whether the person is a real threat or not. University spokesperson Brian Coy told CBS 6 after the shooting that Student Affairs was reviewing a potential hazing issue from September when a student said Jones had made a comment about possessing a gun. Coy claimed the comment was not made in conjunction with a threat. Still, UVA Police Chief Tim Longo said the Threat Assessment Team was contacted, and contact was made with Jones's roommate, who gave no indication of the presence of any weapons. Jones refused to cooperate, but they found Jones was previously convicted of a misdemeanor concealed weapons violation in 2021 after an incident in Chesterfield. UVA Student Affairs opted to escalate Jones's case for disciplinary action in October through the University Judiciary Committee, but at the time of the shooting, Coy said they still had not been able to reach Jones. Coy said Student Affairs never actually transmitted its report on Jones to the University Judiciary Committee, so no action was taken. Now, in the report released Friday, the authors point out what they call weaknesses in UVA's threat assessment team, like the threat assessment team lacked sufficient dedicated resources and student safety and support personnel were overextended. In the fall of 2022, TAT only had 1 full-time dedicated employee and did not have a procedure to address non-cooperation with its investigations. It also noted a school culture that deferred too much to student autonomy. The report found that model may impede the ability to enforce its rules. The authors found at all other colleges and universities interviewed for comparison, disciplinary actions related to student conduct were conducted through a university department. UVA has already implemented many of the recommendations made in this report. For example, they have now hired 4 full-time staff members to their threat assessment team. To read the report in its entirety, visit this story on our website, WTVR.com. In Richmond, I'm Melissa Hippolyte for CBS 6.
Later today, neighbors in Henrico's West End are asking for your help to donate to a food drive in honor of a Quioccasin school student, Lucia Bramer. The 13-year-old was walking home with a friend after school when she was shot and killed on March 26, 2021. Each year since, her family and friends look for ways to honor her life. Canterbury Recreation Association on Pump Road is hosting a food drive for Feed More today, where the Bramers are longtime members. If you're looking at video right now from the food drive in 2022. Brendan King talked with the facility manager, Angie Hutchinson, who is organizing the food drive alongside Bramer's family. She says dozens of volunteers are working to make this happen.
Fun atmosphere, even though it's a very sad situation, but we try to make it light when we can. Lucia means light. They like to spread the light. They like to keep her light alive. They would really rather focus on how she lived rather than how she died.
The 4th annual Lucia Bramer Food Drive is today from 10 to 2 at 1300 Pump Road in the West End. You're asked to bring canned food and non-perishables, but no glass will be accepted. You can also make monetary donations on the Feed More website. A missing teenager who led to Fredericksburg City schools being closed Friday has been caught in New Jersey. Police say the FBI informed them Thursday night they were looking for a missing 16-year-old from Fairfax County. Fredericksburg say the teen was trespassing at James Monroe High School on Wednesday. He ran from the school resource officer, and police were not able to find him after searching the area. Police believe they were a security and safety concern, but have since learned there was no direct threat to the school system. Police believe he stole a car from Stafford County, and the teen was eventually arrested in Florence, New Jersey. And Chesterfield County firefighters battled 2 brush fires on Friday, and they say a buzzard is to blame for starting them. Around 1:30 p.m., firefighters were called to a brush fire along Cogwheel Road near Belmont Road. The firefighters were able to quickly put out the fire that had spread across the field and into nearby woods. And a little bit later, a separate brush fire ignited nearby. County firefighters believe a buzzard that landed on a power line caused a short to spark. To help control the fire, a Virginia Department of Forestry bulldozer was brought to the area, and it took firefighters 2 hours to control the fires. And you've probably seen this handsome fella before, known as the blobfish. After we pay some bills, we'll tell you the new title it's just earned in a fish fan-voted contest. Mike?
Cameron? Well, there's the big difference this morning. If it was Greg, he would have said, speaking of blobfish.
I was thinking, is that you before you put on your makeup?
Sadly, I wish I looked that good. Hey, let's go down to Coldwell Country. This is our Old Town Petersburg camera showing you a beautiful skyline. Sunrise is just about 20, 30 minutes away or so. We'll talk about our 7-day forecast coming up in just a few moments.
And as we head to break, taking a look at Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And the blobfish has always been known for being pretty ugly, but now it's making a major comeback. The gelatinous sea creature, considered 2013's ugliest animal in the world, was just named Fish of the Year in New Zealand.
I love how you read that. I feel like I'm standing next to Sir David Attenborough. More than 5,500 votes were cast in a survey. The blobfish came out on top with about 300 more tallies than the second place orange roughy, coming to a restaurant near you. The annual contest raises awareness about the various fish that live in the waters of New Zealand.
And I'm going to guess if they had a naming contest as well with all those, it would be Blobby McBlobface, no doubt, or Fishy McFishface.
And if it's near Australia or New Zealand, chances are the fish could kill you.
It'll kill you somehow.
If it's not that, it's related to a spider that could kill you or a snake that could kill you.
Absolutely. And good fishing weather today?
Yeah, you know what? We're going to be nice and warm again. Wednesday and Thursday, we had highs in mid to upper 70s. Yesterday's a little bit cooler, but today we're going back into the low 70s. So it's going to be a nice warm day, but we have a cold front coming through this evening. So tomorrow's going to cool down. So that trend of the past few weeks of the temps going up and down, are going to continue for today and tomorrow as well. Normal high is 62 for today. It will be about 72. Sun's up at 7:09, sets at 7:23. The vernal equinox, the start of spring, was on Thursday morning. We'll go back to winter when we had 9 hours and 34 minutes of daylight. The sunset was at 4:55. First day of spring a few days ago. Sunrise was 7:12, set at 7:22. 12 hours and 7 minutes of daylight. And by the time we get towards summer, sun sets at 8:34. The sun rises before 6 a.m. We have 14 hours and 46 minutes of daylight. So between winter and spring, we've gained 2.5 hours of daylight, and we get about another 2.5 hours of daylight more between now and summer. Between winter and summer, we have, essentially about 5 hours difference of daylight. Temperatures right now are in the upper 30s and low 40s. A little bit cooler out by Lynchburg. The SPCA dog jog is today. We're going to be talking more about that over about the next hour and 15 minutes or so. Good deal of sunshine. It'll be breezy. A high temperature today in the upper 60s and low 70s. Coming out earlier this morning, though, especially like for the 5K, temps will be warming up through the 40s and the 50s. High temperatures today, upper 60s and low 70s area-wide. Tonight, that cold front comes through. We drop back down in the 30s to around 40 for tomorrow morning. And tomorrow's highs, low 50s near the coast, low to mid 60s across central Virginia. Still fairly warm out by Danville, a high of 70 there. And then going into Monday, we warm up a little bit into the mid to upper 60s to around around 70 degrees, and we'll have a couple of showers around. For today, it's just some passing clouds from time to time. There could be a sprinkle up by D.C. We'll have a few more clouds coming in later in the day tomorrow, and then tomorrow evening and tomorrow night we'll have a couple spotty showers, and there'll be the chance for a few showers on Monday, mostly in the morning. So here's the 7-day forecast. 70s today, low 60s tomorrow, close to 70 on Monday. We cool back down to around 60 by midweek, but then we dry out and we're back up to about 71 Friday, and it could be close to 80 next weekend. Cam.
Thank you, Mike. As the gutting of the Department of Education begins, questions remain about what will come of student loans, who President Trump says will be tasked with the responsibility, and what Virginia's leaders have to say about the dismantling. As President Trump seeks to dismantle the Department of Education, on Friday he tasked the Small Business Administration with taking action regarding student loans. Sherelle Hubbard has more.
Just a day after President Trump signed an executive order beginning the process of dismantling the Department of Education,
we're going to be returning education very simply back to the states where it belongs.
The president made another big announcement.
I've decided that the SBA, the Small Business Administration, headed by Kelly Loeffler, is a terrific person, will handle all of the student loan portfolio. We have a portfolio that's very large, lots of loans.
Questions remain about how those student loans will be managed. According to two sources, the student loan portfolio totals a staggering $1.8 trillion in debt, and an estimated 40% of loans are past due. And the Small Business Administration announcing it is slashing staff. Friday, SBA Chief Kelly Loeffler announced around 2,700 positions will be cut, or 43% of staff.
Education is a right. That is why we have to fight.
Students rallied outside the Department of Education following Trump's executive order.
It's the Department of Education, but what will it be tomorrow? Like, what is the limit to where Trump and Elon will go? How much will they cut? How many lives will they be willing to sacrifice for their own profit and power?
I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
Meanwhile, here in Virginia, Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin has been supporting the moves by the administration, saying that the Commonwealth is ready to step up, while Democratic Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan says the department is needed to help fill in support gaps that the states have shown they can't fill, like civil rights.
I do believe that the top priority for actions at the federal government are going to be to move responsibility for education from the federal government to the states. And I think that's a positive for us. And I think as the idea of potentially block granting more money to the states for K through 12 education will really benefit Virginians.
What the president said is he's sending that back to the states, but we have already seen that the states are not equipped to meet the need of every child. And so this is an all hands on deck moment partnership between localities and states that have the primary responsibility and control over education, and the federal government that fills those gaps. But when you have cut the workforce that does it in half, you have dismantled and spread out that workforce to other agencies that have also been cut.
Now, as McClellan mentioned, the agency had announced a workforce cut of nearly 50% earlier this month, amounting to about 1,300 employees being laid off, in addition to hundreds who took voluntary buyouts. And get ready to dress to impress. The KLM Scholarship Foundation is gearing up for the 15th annual Black and White Affair. The nonprofit works to raise money and distribute book scholarship awards targeted at helping college students faced with financial obstacles. The Black and White Affair is set for Saturday, April 5th at 7 p.m. at the Richmond Marriott on East Broad Street. And normally when we talk about goats on CBS 6 weekend mornings, it's about Wayne Colville being the greatest of all time. But this next story is a little bit more literal, because video has been released showing police officers chasing a goat down on the side of the road. Where it happened and what happened to her once she was caught. But first, for less chaotic animals, here's Pause for Pets with Goldie.
Good morning. Meet Katrina, a fluffy ball of sass, sweetness, and charm, adoptable from Hanover Community Cats. She's playful yet affectionate, with a heart full of love. Katrina adores her 5-way tunnel, interactive toys, and even sneaks the dog's toys out for fun. She thrives in a calm, quiet home with a feline friend or her buddy Cyrus. A patient adopter who will let her blossom at her own pace is ideal. Katrina enjoys a high-quality diet of wet food and needs a stable home to feel safe. If you're ready for a princess who's equal parts sass and snuggles, Katrina is waiting to steal your heart. If you'd like to meet her, please send an email to hanovercommunitycats804@yahoo.com. I'm Mike Goldberg with this morning's Pause for Pets.
Now, from CBS 6, the Weather Authority, meteorologist Mike Stone.
It's 6:55. We're getting closer to sunrise. That's how it looks up in Doswell, our after-hours concert camp. A few scattered clouds right now. Upper 30s and low 40s here across central Virginia, although some low 30s off to the west. Today, we're back in the upper 60s and low 70s. A partly to mostly sunny sky. Will be breezy while some gusts over 30 miles an hour. Winds calm down tonight, low down to 38. Tomorrow, we're back up to 62, so a little bit of a drop thanks to a cold front that comes through tonight. We're back up close to 70 on Monday. There'll be a couple showers around, mostly in the morning. Another chance of rain Tuesday evening, Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. So a lot of that's going to happen during the non-daylight hours. Cools off a little bit towards midweek, back to where we should be this time of year, but then we're up into the low 70s Friday, and we could push 80 next weekend.
Looking forward to that. Now, usually when you see footage of police chases, they tend to be car and car or foot and foot. But this one involves something you normally don't see, foot and hooves. Take a look at this footage out of Akron, Ohio. Police there received a call a few days ago about a loose goat along State Route 8. So they had to run it down, which, as you can see, is a lot easier said than done, especially as was playing Frogger with oncoming traffic. Eventually, officers captured it and found it had no tags, chips, or markings to indicate where she belonged. But all's well that ends well. The goat, who officers have named Fugitive, was brought to a local rescue group who eventually took her to a farm. Now, another person, now I gotta say, okay, and I do have to say, though, do you think they have their own version of Mike Goldberg in Ohio who's going to eventually have Fugitive on Pause for Pets, or Hooves for Pet, I guess?
I got to tell you, I'm horribly disoriented because we have like little titles for the stories in the rundown, and I have my glasses on, and I thought it said Goat Cheese Chase. And I know you've seen this show before, that we show like them chasing the cheese in England going down the hill. So I was expecting a totally different story.
There we go. Do you don't have any goat-related puns to relay for that one?
No.
Meanwhile, another person who can be considered one of the goats, as in the greatest of all time, Antoinette Essa, in just a few minutes. She'll join us live from the site of the annual Dog Jog and Block Party.